Hey guys, so for today's video I basically have like two different videos in one. It's kind of like my everyday kind of makeup slash like everyday kind of school makeup. So I'm actually not in school anymore. I did graduate this year, but for those who are still in school, I wanted to do a makeup tutorial that was a little bit more, I guess, school appropriate in my opinion. This is definitely something I would wear to school all the time. I mean, this is probably going to be a big personal preference kind of thing. Some people might think this is too much makeup to be wearing to school, and some people might think this is not enough. And, you know, everyone's open to their own opinions. Personally, this is the type of makeup that I would wear on the daily to school. I think it's just enough. There'd be days where I would even go full out glam and do like glitter and liquid liner and everything. So yeah, but this is kind of like the everyday kind of look for me, and this is also kind of like an everyday look for me in general, like on the daily basis. But what I did in this video is, one, it's all drugstore products, and I haven't done, or at least I don't think I've done a full drugstore makeup look. And so I'm really excited about that because all these products are very affordable, easily accessible, and by drugstore, like, I do mean literally you can go into a Walmart or something like that and find all these products. There's only one product that is a little bit harder to find, but yeah, you'll see that in the video. Other than that though, everything else is all like actual drugstore products that you can find at Walmart or a place like that. I thought that would be appropriate to do for like a school makeup tutorial because a lot of people that are still in school may not want to spend that kind of money at Sephora on a high-end product, or don't have the money to spend. And I know if you've been watching my channel for a while, I'm more focused around, I guess, high-end makeup products. That's kind of what I lean towards. Those are kind of like my products, the type of products that I like to use. So it was nice to kind of do a full drugstore product video. I also did in this video give a few different drugstore suggestions. So from this, if I'm using something you may not necessarily like, I gave another alternative, something that was maybe a different price point or just a different product in general, so that you kind of had a bit of an option. Because when I was giving a lot of different options, it was either like, you know, one product would do this and one product would do this, or one product had a higher price point than this product. So then at least that way you can kind of see a few different suggestions that I have, some of my favorite drugstore products, if you're not liking the ones that I specifically used on my face today. So yeah, I did that. I really hope that you guys enjoy this video. It's a pretty simple look, obviously, since it's kind of like an everyday school appropriate makeup look. But I do hope that you enjoyed it. Whether you found some new product recommendations to try out, or you just really liked this kind of look, or whatever it may be, I do hope that you enjoyed this video and that it helped you in some way. Also, side note, I did get my nose pierced. I don't know if you can tell from that far, but yeah, I did get it pierced. I got it pierced 2 days ago. I'm so in love with it. But yeah, you'll see in the video that I have to kind of like avoid it when applying makeup around it, because I can't actually put makeup on it since it could get infected from it. So you'll see that in the video. Just wanted to put that out there. Also, I will have all the products listed down below just in case you want to go back and refer to them. And yeah, so don't forget to like this video if you enjoy it, and please don't forget to subscribe because it always helps me out and I always appreciate it. So yeah, if you haven't already subscribed, then please do. And I had one more thing to say and I forgot it now. Oh, also, don't forget to follow me on all my social media. I'm definitely most active on Instagram, but you can follow me on all of them. You know, if I start gaining like more followers on the other ones, I will kind of start being a little bit more active. But yeah, definitely check out my Instagram for sure, because I post video updates, like when I'm going to be posting a video. I post a lot of product shots and just a few like random makeup tutorials or like pics and stuff. So yeah, check that out if you haven't already. And other than that, I think that's all I have to say. We're just gonna get right into the video. I have already moisturized my skin and everything, so it's ready to go. I'm gonna start off with brows, just get that kind of done out of the way. Now, I only have one actual drugstore brow product to use. It is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. This is in the shade Brunette, which I normally keep this in my bag as like emergency touch-ups because my favorite brow pencil is the Benefit one. So I don't normally reach for this one. It's just kind of there if I like don't have a brow pencil with me. This is kind of there for touch-ups. So it might not be my perfect shade right now, but we're just gonna kind of go with it anyways. Now this is my only drugstore brow pencil, so I don't have any other recommendations with me. But another one that I have tried that I do think is pretty good is the L'Oreal brow pencil. This is definitely my favorite one from the drugstore that I've tried though. Okay, the brows are done. We're gonna move on to the eyes now. So I only have one actual like drugstore eyeshadow primer, and it's from Wet n Wild, and it's their Photo Focus eyeshadow primer, which I have actually heard that this was a good primer, so I bought it specifically to do a drugstore video with. And I have tried this out, and I do think it is a really good one from the drugstore. It's very comparable to, I would say, like the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. It reminds me a lot of that in how, like, what the consistency is like. They both have a bit of that kind of like slight silicone texture to them, and they both have a slight color to them, so I find it pretty similar to that. So I'm just gonna pat that onto the eye, and then I'll blend it in. The eyeshadow palette that I'm going to be using is the e.l.f. Matte for Matte palette. I did also buy this specifically for a drugstore tutorial because I actually don't really have any drugstore eyeshadow palettes. Again, that's something that I just kind of go high end for, but this is what it looks like. I have definitely heard that this is a really good drugstore palette. So I'm going to take this first shade here, which is like the cream shade, and I'm going to use this to set my eyelid. This is just going to ensure that the primer does not crease or anything throughout the day, as well as it's going to help all the eyeshadows blend easily over top of it. So I'm going to be using this palette for like all the matte shades, and then for the lid shade I'm going to be going in with this L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadow in Amber Rush. It is such a gorgeous shade. These are really, really good eyeshadows from the drugstore as well. If you're really into like metallic shades, these are so good. So first with this palette, I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to pop that into my crease as my transition shade. Now I've used this palette one time, so I don't have much of an opinion on it yet. It definitely, from what I can remember using it, it definitely does not compare to like a high-end palette. Like, it's not going to replace my high-end matte shades, but I do think if you are on like a budget and you're not wanting to spend that amount of money on a eyeshadow palette, but you do want some like eyeshadows, I think this is a good palette to look at, because you really do get all of the matte shades in it that you would probably need. So you can create a lot. Like if you have this one palette with maybe like one other palette that has some kind of like metallic shades, or even just like a bunch of these little things, then I think you could create a bunch of different looks with that. I'm gonna go in with this shade here, which has a little bit more of like a reddish tone to it, and I'm gonna be mostly applying this in the outer part of the eye, kind of like in the crease, somewhat on the lid as well, just to add a little bit more color there. I'm going to go in with this shade here, this dark brown, and I'm going to pack this onto the outer corner. Moving on to the lid, I'm going to be taking this eyeshadow in Amber Rush. Now honestly, you don't need to use this shadow wet, like it goes on very intense as it is, But if you know me, like if you've been watching my videos, I pretty much wet every single metallic eyeshadow that I ever use. I don't care how pigmented they are, that's just what I like to do. So I am just going to wet it. It just helps add extra like intensity, as well as it helps with less fallout. So I'm just spraying that, and then I'm going to be putting this onto the inner half of my eye. So that's pretty much it for the eyeshadow. That's pretty much what I would do on the daily, is I'll just pop in like a transition shade, I'll take a darker shade to deepen up the outer corner, and then I'll take a metallic and apply it on the eye, and that's pretty much it. Like that's kind of like my go-to look. I would just kind of change up the eyeshadows that I would use and use like a different metallic shade or something like that. I'm also not going to be applying eyeliner. I used to do that all the time for school, but I kind of got out of it and I don't wear eyeliner on the daily basis anymore. It's just when I'm getting ready for school, there's just too much that can go wrong with it. Like if I mess it up, I have to completely redo everything. I have sensitive eyes, so like if my eyes start to water, then it's going to ruin my eyeliner, and it's just, I don't want to have to bother with it or worry about it at school, so I just completely skip out on that. And I am going to be applying falsies. Now, falsies are completely optional as well. I mean, everything in this tutorial is optional. You don't have to do anything like I do. But if you're more of a mascara person, that's totally fine. I personally don't like my lashes, so I like to wear falsies. But I do kind of try to keep them like more natural for the everyday, unless I'm doing a more dramatic look. So my favorite lashes are the Kiss number 11s, which you've seen in many tutorials. Those are the ones that I'm going to be wearing today. So I'm quickly going to apply those off camera, and then I'll be right back. So the eye makeup is done for now. We're going to move on to the face. The primer I'm going to be using is one of my favorite primers in general. And it's not actually a primer, but if you've been on YouTube for a while now, you would have seen the hype about this. I think it was like last year. It's the Nivea Men Aftershave Balm. So if you've never heard of this, basically Nikki Tutorials discovered that this is a really good face primer because it has an ingredient in here that really helps foundation like stick to the skin. So I definitely noticed that this helps increase my longevity of a foundation because it does help keep it on. So this is my favorite primer in general, like one of the only ones that I noticed like a huge difference with. Another good primer that I do have though, like I haven't branched out and tried a lot of drugstore primers, but this one I do think is good. It's the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser, which this is a very different primer because this one is like a smoothing primer. It's going to smooth out pores or kind of like smooth over any fine lines or like texture or anything. So it's a good smoothing primer, very comparable to the Smashbox Photo Finish primer. So if you're someone who wants something more on the smoothing side that's going to help with your pores, I'd recommend this. If you're wanting something that's going to really help the longevity of your foundation and keep your foundation on all day, I would recommend this. So I'm going in with this one. Now for foundation, the one I'm using today is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Foundation. Really good like dewy foundation. If you're someone who has a bit more drier skin, this looks beautiful. Two other ones that I have that I really love. This is probably my all-time favorite drugstore foundation, and it's the Maybelline Fit Me. I do get the matte and poreless one. I don't find that this is super mattifying. Like I do have dry skin, but I can get away with this. It's not really, I don't find it mattifying at all. But it has such good coverage. It lasts so long. It looks so good on the skin. Like I've been using this for years. So I really love this one. This is another one that I do really enjoy, but it's not something I would use all year. But if you are someone with more oily skin, you might like this one a lot, and it's the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. But anyways, I'm going to go in with this one today because I haven't used this one in a while. Next I'm going in with concealer. Now this is the one product that I have that you can't actually like easily access in most kind of drugstores. If any, I don't really know, but I know that none where I live sell them in an actual drugstore. I had to get this at a specific store. So I'm going to be using the LA Girl Pro Concealer. This is in porcelain. The reason I'm using this is because I was going to use my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, which is my like favorite drugstore concealer, but as you can see I'm completely out of it and I did not have time to repurchase it, so can't use that. But like I said, this is my favorite drugstore concealer. I have gone through so many of these. I just love it so much. Another really good one that I like is the NYX HD concealer. I think that's what it's called. That one's really good as well. The only thing is I feel like you don't get a lot of product in there, and I run out of those so incredibly fast that it's almost like not worth the price. But yeah, so anyways, I'm going in with the LA Girl Pro Concealers because these do definitely have a drugstore price tag. They're just not extremely easily accessible. Now this has been a favorite of mine lately, and it's the Cody Airspun Loose Face Powder. So I'm going to use this to bake kind of like under my eyes as well as set the rest of my face. But two other like actual pressed powders that I do really love from the drugstore for like my drier skin is the Maybelline Fit Me in Normal to Dry. This is a really good one, as well as the Maybelline Superstay Better Skin. This one I feel is definitely like has a bit more coverage to it, whereas this one's a little bit more lightweight. But I do really like both of these as well for my skin. So I'm going to contour now. The contour that I'm going to be using is from the e.l.f. contour palette. Now, the one other shade in here broke, but it was more of like a really warm bronzer. So I'm going to be using this one right here. This is very, very pigmented, so I am going to go in light-handed. The other contour palette I would recommend, this is by Makeup Revolution, but it's like completely worn off. I know that this is a brand that you can find at Ulta and in select stores here where I live, but this is what it looks like. It is a really good contour palette as well if you're wanting more of like a full-on palette. Whereas this e.l.f. one I feel like is really good for traveling. So I'm really tapping it off just to ensure it's not too harsh. Now I have two bronzers. The one I'm going to be going in with is my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, which is one of my favorites, as you can tell because of Hip Hand. But this Physicians Formula is a little bit more of a pricey drugstore brand, so if you're wanting something that's a little bit more affordable, the NYC Smooth Skin Bronzer, this is in Sunny. It's a really good drugstore bronzer as well. It is completely matte, and it is slightly more on the warm tone, but I do have neutral to cool tone skin. I normally do not like a very warm bronzer, but I don't find this is too warm for me. So this is a really good one, and it's very, very inexpensive. But this is my favorite drugstore bronzer. If you are looking for one, I would really recommend this. I love this, but I would say that you do have to have fair skin for this because it is a very light bronzer. Okay, on to blush. I have two blushes. The one that I'm going to be using today is the Wet n Wild Coloricon blush in Mellow Wine. This is a really like peachy matte blush. Wet n Wild has really good blushes. I would totally check them out if you're looking for a drugstore blush. Another brand that I really like their blushes is Milani, their baked blush. This one is in Berry Amore. This one definitely has a little bit more of like a kind of like a sheen shimmer to it. I don't want to say shimmer, like it's not shimmery, but it definitely has a bit of a sheen, kind of like NARS Orgasm vibes, but not as shimmery, if that makes sense. So if you're someone who really likes a bit of that sheen in your blush, which I really love a bit of a sheen, I would really recommend these. They're really good as well. But I'm gonna go in with this one today. Now we're going to move on to highlighters. So I have three recommendations. The first one is the e.l.f. highlighter in Moonlight Pearls. This is a really good drugstore highlighter. Now if you do purchase this, you do have to kind of like scrape off the surface because they do put some kind of layering on it that I heard it's supposed to like prevent the highlighter from breaking during like shipping and stuff. So yeah, the layer, like the first initial layer, there's like no pigment that comes off, but once you kind of scrape that off, you do get a really pigmented, beautiful highlighter. I'll give you a quick swatch of this one. I feel like this is a really good like everyday highlighter. It's not too intense, but it does give you a pretty glow. So there it is right there. The other one that I would totally recommend, this is like become such a staple product for me. It's the Flower Beauty Shimmer and Strobe Highlighting Palette. I did show this in a haul and I'm obsessed with this. This is amazing if you love a super intense blinding highlight. I'm going to swatch these first two. I'm going to swatch these two here. These ones are my favorite. It's such a soft formula and it is so blinding when you actually put it on the cheeks. But I have been using this one a lot, so I'm not going to use this one today. The one I'm going to use is the Pixi and Aspyn Novad Glowy Powder in London Lustre, which looks like this. I haven't actually used this yet. I think I've used it once, but I definitely have not used this in any videos. It's a very classic like highlighting shade. There it is right there. It is very pretty. Now this definitely is a little bit up there on the drugstore prices as well, which is why I wanted to show you the e.l.f. one, because this one is definitely more affordable if you're looking for something like that. But yeah, so I'm going to go in with this one. And because I do have dry skin, I really like to add highlighter like all over my face because it just gives a really beautiful glow. If you do have oily skin, you might want to avoid this because it can make you look a little bit oily, but I don't have to worry about that. So I do go ahead and highlight my nose. I do put just the slightest bit on my forehead just to give it a very slight glow and not look so matte. Highlight my cupid's bow. And a little bit on my chin as well. And then I put a bit onto my brow bone. That's it for the face makeup. I'm going to quickly finish off the eyes now. So I do just super simple on the lower lash line. I'm just honestly going to take probably this shade that we first went in with, sweep that all across from the outer corner to the inner corner, and then I'm going to take the deeper shade and just put that in the very outer corner, and that'll be it. I'm going to quickly do some liner now. That's pretty much something that I was like doing every single day for the longest time because I just find like it just really emphasizes my eyes and makes them pop. So my favorite liner to use for this is just the Maybelline gel liner. I find that it lasts the longest in my waterline because like I said, I do have sensitive eyes. My eyes do water and this just lasts pretty much all day for me. My last step for the eyes is I'm going to just apply some mascara to my bottom lashes. So lastly is lips. I have a lot of lip products that I wanted to throw in here. The one I'm going to be using is probably my favorite drugstore lipstick that I have, and it's the Katy Perry and CoverGirl Katy Kat Matte Lipstick in Sphinx. And then the lip liner I'm using is the Essence lip liner in the nude. It's just a basic nude lip liner. I know that Rimmel, I've tried Rimmel's lip liners. They're the only other brand that I've tried for lip liners, and they have really good ones as well. But this one was just extremely inexpensive. So yeah, I'm just going to line my lips with that. But for other lip products, I really love Maybelline lipsticks. This one is in 915 Blushing Beige. This is a very soft, like nude color. It has a lot of sheen to it. I'm going to swatch it right there, and it's not extremely pigmented, so I feel like this is a really good lipstick for like every day. These Rimmel ones collabed with Kate are really good as well. This one is in 101. They're very pigmented, like they're not too matte or anything. And then the NYX lip lingeries are a really good like kind of liquid lipstick formula from the drugstore. I do really like these as well. They're not too drying and they wear well for me. And then for a lip gloss, my favorite one is the NYX Butter Glosses. This one is in I'm not gonna try and pronounce that, so forget that. I'll leave it down below. But yeah, this, I really loved it just because they have a slight bit of color to it. They're not too glossy or like sticky or anything, so I really love this as like an everyday lip product as well. Now, in all honesty, I did not wear lipstick to school. The most I would do is maybe put on some of this like gloss, but that's about it. But I just wanted to throw on some lipstick for this look. So yeah, that's all the makeup. I'm gonna quickly set this now. The only drugstore setting spray I have is from Milani, and it's their Make It Last setting spray. It's supposed to be a 16-hour wear. So I'm gonna quickly set my face with that. I do have to cover up my piercing though. I'm gonna just go like that and set my face. I'm gonna quickly go off camera, fix up my hair, and I'll be right back. So here's the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope it was helpful. I hope that you learned some new good drugstore products, or you got some inspiration from this, or whatever it may be. I just hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did enjoy it, then of course don't forget to give it a like, and if you haven't already, then please do subscribe. I will really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in my next video.